What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first edition here of Dangle Bet Celly for the new season. Chris Meaney and Eric Young here with you. Dangle Bet Celly presented by Boom Fantasy here live on our FTN YouTube page. And a friendly reminder that this show can only be found here on our YouTube page. Unfortunately, we will not be putting the episodes up via podcast. May have some of them up on Mean Streets. So if you subscribe over to Mean Streets, by all means. But this is an NHL betting show. If you're unfamiliar, we will call some of our favorite goal scorers, our favorite props. We'll talk a little fantasy hockey as well. If you have any questions, any comments, you can leave them there in the comments section. I already have our guy, Jay Felicio, in the house. Let's do that hockey. Emmerich is here as well. What's up, boys? We have missed everybody, and we're excited to talk a little hockey. So the 3-game slate here today in the NHL. We'll be back on Thursday, so the goal is Tuesdays and Thursdays, the busiest nights in the NHL, and the goal is to go live here 10 a.m. Eastern on those days. And again, we will have all kinds of fantasy hockey content for you over at ftnfantasy.com. A free draft kit already there for people who are still drafting, doing some drafts late. Rankings will be updated constantly. Again, all free. We'll have some waiver wire content for you as well. EY, you're sideways there, brother.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here.
What happened to you, man? You were just perfect. Then you just turned sideways.
I don't know. I started pressing stuff.
The Leaf season's already upside down. Now he's just gone. So we're off to a hot start here on Dangle Bet Celly. We'll try to get Eric back here in a few moments. It kills me. He's doing some traveling. He's overseas, so I think it's like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon for him over there. But we'll get him back. We'll just power on here if not. So yes, fantasy hockey kit, it's live, and I understand you may have been drafting already, but the rankings will be updated, and we'll have a waiver wire article for you every Sunday. You know, if you're familiar with some of the work that I've done, it'll just be some 4-game streams, some players that are available in fantasy hockey, right? Just taking a look at some guys that are sub 50%. The ownership in Yahoo leagues and ESPN, and we'll talk some waiver wire stuff on this show as well, looking at some 4-gamers. But he's back. EY is back. Sealy's in the house. Go Rangers.
I'm from the future. I'm in the United Kingdom, and it's 3 p.m. here. I found a record store down the street. I spent a bunch of money today. It's
what record?
It's quite a lot of questionable behavior over here right now.
What'd you buy? What record did you buy?
I got a Run the Jewels album. I found a Rolling Stone album that I don't have. I own almost all of them. AC/DC, Let There Be Rock. And I found it in the bargain bin, The Vines, which is a really cool band. Found it for $11 in the bargain bin. So,
nice.
Good hunting.
You got to go bargain bin shopping. It's crazy. I have a ton of records as well, and congrats to your new show. I want people to check that out. You can see that up a little bit later on for the people. Records like 15 years ago, you can get 10 for $10.
Yep.
Now you go to a record store, and of course, brand new ones. I mean, you're not going to get anything under 45. I was looking at Stone's one the other day, and there's just a couple of tracks that I liked on that particular album. Miss You was on there, and I was just like, I can't spend $55 for this new record. I could, but I could also maybe just find a record shop and go the cheap way that way. So, EY, you're doing a record show. Why don't you tee it up for the people before we officially get going here?
Yeah, the debut episode happened on Sunday. If anyone didn't get a chance to watch it, you can check out Access TV if you have that. I'm sure that'll be replayed probably throughout the week. If not, it'll be every Sunday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. And there'll be periodically, there'll be long form podcasts of me interviewing these people. It was Dave Mustaine and Bobby Bones this Sunday. And I'll be releasing who's on Instagram and on social media and stuff about who will be on this Sunday. Kind of keeping it as a surprise now, but it's a really cool show. It's something I'm super, super proud of, something I'm really passionate about other than pro wrestling and hockey. Music's been just a massive part of my life, and it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing show, and it looks cool and shot so well and put together so well. It's fun. And if you like any kind of music, you can watch it because it's just about music and all different kinds of music, different kinds of albums, mostly about vinyl, right? But really just about music. So it's called Vinyl Obsession. find it wherever you can. Please watch and support it, because I'd love to do it again.
Love that. And support this show if you can. Smash the like button if you're hanging out with us now. Retweet the show, tell a friend. So let's get going here. We'll share some predictions, get some Stanley Cup stuff. I mean, people that have been following my work have the free betting guide over at FTN Fantasy. Dove into every, division, the playoff order, division order, favorite future props and bets and fantasy targets for every team. But let's get going here. We have 3 games on the ice. Of course, the season did already, was underway in Prague. We had 2 games there. We had the Devils, the clean sweep against the Buffalo Sabres. So we have 3 games here tonight. The Kraken at home, 4:30 Eastern puck drop. So an early game there with the Blues in town. Of course, the Stanley Cup champion, our Florida Panthers, who we did have on the show at 18-1 to win the Stanley Cup over at FTN Fantasy. They open up.
I made some good money.
We did, yeah. So did some of our subscribers as well. They're going to raise the banner tonight in Florida. I know there's some crazy weather happening in the area. Hopefully everybody stays safe. I know they're evacuating, and also I did see. Oh, wow. The Jets just fired Robert Saleh. Interesting football talk there. Wow.
Oh, man.
It's Rodgers' world, man. We're just living in it. He even overtakes the opening day of the NHL from us here at Dangle Bet Celly. But anyways, those jokes. Okay, so yeah, everybody be safe. I saw the Buccaneers football again were getting out of Tampa today to go to New Orleans, but it does sound like that game is going to happen. That is at 7 Eastern. I did see the Stanley Cup ring. They had the little rat inside. I thought that was pretty cool touch there for the Panthers. So they had the Bruins and the team that they've bounced over the past couple of years. And then we have the Utah Hockey Club tonight at 10 Eastern at home against
Bush League
Blackhawks. You're sad, eh? Your Arizona Coyotes. They're no longer around, but I'm excited for Utah fans, man. They're getting.
I'm very excited for Utah fans. I just think it's Bush League that we couldn't decide on a name. Like, what about people that buy those jerseys? Now they have to buy. I mean, I get it's all just a big cash grab for these millionaires and billionaires, but it's nonsense. Should have a team name. It's Bush League.
It is. I agree. They expect the fans
just
to buy
one.
all this gear, and then in a year they're going to switch it, and it's going to be a lot different. But I think they're going to get one hell of a squad, and it should be, I think, electric atmosphere in there tonight. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to watching that game. So let's start here with the Kraken and the Blues. The prop shop and the parlay calculator are 2 tools that are free over at FTN Fantasy. Get the best possible number. I'm seeing St. Louis, if you want to back them, at plus 130 over at DraftKings, in the Seattle Kraken at minus 141 over at Caesars. Just for an example, FanDuel is hanging minus 156 for the Kraken on the money line. But if you are feeling them, why wouldn't you take the minus 141 over at Caesars? So I'll let you kick it off. I know you're the big goal scorer caller here on this show. What are you looking at between the Blues and the Kraken here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to get to our futures, as I did a lot of research while drinking wine and flying over here. It's a long flight, so it kept me busy, and we differ in a lot of areas there, so that's cool. But tonight, I'm really excited to see this Jake Neighbors. He's a person that I've drafted in a bunch of my teams. Not super well-known player, a guy that really came on at the end of last year, a guy like I made some notes to go and take a look and, look at daily face-off and see where he's lining up. He's playing on the top line. He's playing on the top power play. The Jake Neighbors has arrived, and he's going to be a big part of the St. Louis Blues this year. I've got him to score, and I've got Buchnevich to score. Kyrou is a guy that I really like. I still think he's offensively their best player. But I'm really excited to see what happens with Neighbors this year. St. Louis Blues are betting on him as of now, right? I mean, everything can change in a week, and he doesn't play well, and he's back on the third line. But as of now, he's playing on that top line, and he's playing on the top power play, so there's going to be tons of opportunities for Jake Neighbors. Seattle side, this is a Jared McCann show. And I'm going Jared McCann, and another guy that I drafted all over, and I'm a little disappointed he slipped from the first line down to the third line, but they roll all 4 in Seattle is Ilya Tolovan. He's also been taken off of the power play. So I don't, maybe made someone mad. I don't know. But as of today, I was looking at Daily Faceoff, and the lineups have him playing on the third line and not on the point on that first power play that they had all off season. So I'm still thinking Tolovan's going to win or is going to score. Is a crazy elite shooter, and I think he earns his way back. But I think he gets on the board tonight.
Yeah, there's two guys in this game that I like. By the way, I think, the Blues are interesting dogs tonight. I actually kind of like them on the money line this evening. It's we'll get into the other games. It's not my favorite pick on the board, but the fact that we can get St. Louis here at plus 130, I think these two teams are very evenly matched.
Yeah.
The Kraken at home, you give them a slight edge, of course, they're at home. But Jordan Binnington played really good last year. I like some of the additions. I still am not really.
Nobody was talking about it, right? Nobody was talking about how good Binnington played.
No, nobody was, and he did play really good for them last year. So I do lean with St. Louis on the money line, but I like the Jake Neighbors call. I got him for a point at plus 115. Again, use the prop shop. I'm seeing just Neighbors right now is plus 115 over at BetMGM for a point. And he's going to play on the top power play too. And he was pretty good on the power play last year for the Blues. He's plus 360 for a power play point. That would be a smaller sprinkle on the power play point. My long shot bet, free article over at ftnfantasy.com. We'll have one every Tuesday and every Thursday in this game is Brennan Montour. Brennan Montour over 2.5 shots at plus 145. I'm very excited for the Kraken fans to see what Montour can bring to their team, especially on the power play. Like this power play's just been okay over the past couple of years, and they may open up with Vince Dunn on that first power play unit tonight. But they also may just roll with Brennan Montour in that first power play. Like I think I like Dunn as a player, but I think that Brennan Montour can offer more to the Kraken power play. He was the quarterback on the Panthers power play over the past couple of years. And just look overall at his numbers. I mean, 50 power play points in the last 2 seasons with Florida. Now, I know that the power play in Seattle is not going to be as lethal as the Panthers over the past couple of years, but 50 power play points is significant. And he averaged 2.8 shots and 23 minutes per game over that span, the last 2 years in Florida. Last year was a bit of a down year. 2 years ago was unbelievable. The outlier campaign hit career highs across the board, did everything in fantasy. Those banger leagues, he hit, he shot, he had the power play points there for you. The ice time was there. Then last year, recovering from the offseason shoulder surgery, it took him a little bit of time to get going, and he just didn't seem like the same type of player. But he's healthy here. And I think that Seattle will just let him be a freewheeling type of player like Paul Maurice did. Paul Maurice let his defensemen jump the rush. They were aggressive. They pinched. And that was part of why they were so exciting. And I know it's just the preseason, but Seattle showed me that they're going to let him buck. And his best quality is his aggressiveness and to move up and play. Right. So 3 preseason games.
He's a racehorse. He might as well be running, man.
Yeah, for sure. In 3 preseason games, he scored 2 goals. He had 9 shots on goal in those preseason games. So you can get Brennan Montour today for over 2.5 shots at plus 145. At the end of the show, we'll rank our top 5 picks in order. We'll have some goal scorers. But for this game, for me, just kind of keeping it simple, we got Jake Neighbors for a point, and I got Brennan Montour for over 2.5 shots. The plus 145 for Brennan Montour is over on Bet365. Again, man, the prop shop is awesome. It's like Google search. Plus 145 at Bet365. All books are hanging plus money there. He's also plus 155 for a point, and he's plus 425 for a power play point. We'll stay clear of that power play point just to see his placement, because Daily Faceoff could be absolutely wrong on some of these things. Like they had Sean Dursey on the first unit. That's just not going to happen in Utah tonight. It's going to be Mikhail Sergachev. So we'll see where Brennan Montour fits in on his new squad. But I have a pretty good feeling that he's going to be on that first power play unit. And he's got top 15 upside in fantasy hockey. So if you playing in a shallower league or you see him for some reason available on your waiver wire, you go ahead and you scoop him up. We like the Blues here tonight. So let's get to the defending Stanley Cup champion, Florida Panthers. They've been to the finals 2 straight years. Brennan Montour's former team. They did lose some guys, man, on the blue line, not just Montour.
Yeah,
Oliver Ekman-Larsson is gone from this squad. They're at home here today, of course, and against the Boston Bruins, who finally came to an agreement with Jeremy Swayman and Cam Neely. Interesting tactics. I get 64 million reasons why he should play. And anyways, he got a little bit more than 8 million per year. Don't expect him to suit up tonight to see daily faceoff have him penciled in. Like, he hasn't had any preseason action. I don't think we're going to see him between the pipes for like another week or so. Maybe get him ramped up. I would be shocked, absolutely shocked if he started tonight. I do expect Korpisalo. So what do you like from this game, Panthers and Bruins? And we know that the Florida's had Boston's number over the past couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, typically the team, coming off a Stanley Cup and raising a banner, that's super distracting. The players are pulled a million directions that day, doing media stuff and the ring things and stuff at the arena and stuff for the season ticket holders. So often it doesn't go well for the defending Stanley Cup champions. But I think you're right. I think Korpisalo plays, and I don't trust him in net. I mean, he's played in the NHL for a long time, but I don't think you could ever say that he was reliable. I mean, he's played on some pretty rotten Columbus Blue Jacket teams. But still, I wouldn't say that he's reliable. I like Florida tonight, but for Boston, Marchand, the captain, he's just one of the best hockey players in the world. Period. The end. Like, full stop. Paul, he's unbelievable. So I think he scores, and I think Elias Lindholm gets on. I mean, this is we love Pavel Zacha. We talked about him a ton last year. We love Charlie Coyle and what they did for the Bruins, but this is a massive, massive upgrade, especially offensively, for the Boston Bruins to have a number one center in Elias Lindholm, and I think he gets a goal tonight. On the Florida side, I'm going Tkachuk and our old buddy, the former Buffalo Sabre, and we couldn't wait for him to get out of there, Sam Reinhart. And we knew this was the player that he could be. Over 50 goals last year. He's going to shoot the lights out again this year. I know it.
Yeah, Sam Reinhart, actually a good price for him at Bet Rivers, minus 150 over 2.5 shots. You look at 365, minus 180, Caesars minus 182, and MGM minus 185. I'm a single game better. I like my parlays like everybody else. I see some people asking about PrizePicks plays. We'll recap at the very end. I'll take a look at the PrizePicks board. Most of these plays that we mentioned, you can play over there, and I know PrizePicks will allow you to do some sort of flex. You can go 3 for 4 and still earn yourself a bit of cash there. But I would never take anything over minus 155, minus 160 for a single is really, really tough. For example, like to win a full unit on a minus 160 bet, you'd have to put 1.6 units. Let's simplify it here and say you put $1.60 down on a minus 160 bet in order to get a profit of $1, you would have to get to 1.6. If it was the plus 145 bet, you put $1 on that, you get 145 back. So just kind of think of it like that. If it's minus 125 to get a full $1 back, $10 back, $100 back, you're a big roller like EY, $1,000 back, you're going to have to put the 1.25. Again, just wanted to, because some people are still getting into betting. We have the free fantasy hockey Discord at FTN Fantasy. If you're part of the family, we talk bankroll management, all that stuff. And with the FTN Fantasy betting package, you get all the picks from everybody across all sports. So it's fun conversations in all of the sports, and they're all happening in October. A little bit of a sidebar there for you. But I think that is like kind of as steep as I would go for Reinhart. Not interested in the minus 180, minus 182.85, but I do like the minus 150. Career year for him. You talked about a contract year. He got paid. I think we'll see the goals come down a little bit. I noticed in my fantasy hockey drafts, like his ADP was pretty high and Yahoo had him ranked pretty high. And he was the guy that kind of like people were willing to wait another round or two to get him. I still view him as a 40 goal scorer. He may not score 57, 56, whatever he did last year, but 40 goals, and he loves to shoot the puck. And we know the chemistry is there. But
it wouldn't surprise you if he scored 50 again, though.
No, it wouldn't shock me.
Right.
Just given the situation in Florida and how good the power play is. And
he's the shooter, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He shoots the puck. He likes to shoot the puck. They want him shooting the puck. By the way, he's really, really good at it.
He is really good at it. So a good price there at Bet Rivers. But you and I are on the same page here. With we started with Neighbors. I like Lindholm a little bit more than Neighbors. Lindholm for a point is plus 105 over
I
at
love that.
BetMGM. Last year, we got away from shot props a little bit, and we started to try to find some value with players that are playing on the top line and that are playing on the power play. And I think that Vegas is mispricing Elias Lindholm here for a point. I think once we get into a couple weeks into the season, you'll see Elias Lindholm minus 170,
It'll
minus
just,
180
yeah.
for a point. Yeah. You look at last year, it just didn't work out for him in Vancouver because they put him on the wing. This is a natural center. He's played up the middle most of his career. He had 12 points in 26 games with the Canucks. He averaged 17 minutes and 42 seconds. That was the lowest time on ice total for him since his sophomore season in 2014, 2015, right? Playing on the third line. They tried him earlier on the wing with Elias Pettersson. It didn't work out. I thought he was okay in the playoffs, but he was playing on that third line for the Vancouver Canucks, which just didn't help his outlook. Now he goes to Boston. He's immediately playing on the first line with your guy, David Pastrnak. All Pasta does is score goals. He's got 148 goals in the last 3 years. And
is that good?
Yeah, it's really good. And 223 points in his last 2 seasons. Like, I think people forget about that. Like, yeah, he's a goal scorer, but the guy has 223 points in his last 2 seasons, over 100 points in back-to-back years. And he is getting a good center. You said it. No disrespect to Pavel Zacha, but last year,
it was an awesome story.
Pavel Zacha and Pastrnak and like just random dudes on that other line. So now they're going to put Zacha to the wing. They're going to have Lindholm in the middle of the ice, and they're going to have Pasta there. So Lindholm, for me, if he's healthy all year, he can crack north of 60 points. He's a former 42 goal scorer. He can score, and he could flirt with like 70 points if he's healthy, with Pasta scoring 55 plus goals and hitting the century mark. So plus 105 BetMGM. It's my second or third favorite bet of the day. And this one here, I feel a little bit better about the power play point because we know he's going to be on that first power play as opposed to Brendan Montour. So BetMGM and 365 hanging plus 360 for a power play point on Elias Lindholm. So we'll take the point there. I think the Panthers win, and I heard you say that as well.
Yeah,
Florida.
I think they do. That would be my vote. I'm not giving numbers because I'm in England and I can't open any of my betting.
You're good.
Apps.
Just give the plays, brother. We're good.
Yeah.
All right, let's head to Utah. The hockey club.
It's exciting.
It is. I feel like this was almost a Coyote show, was it not?
Poor
we had
Clint.
a lot of Coyotes fans here.
I don't know if I can't see the chat, but I don't know if Clint's in there. He usually was.
Yeah, he's not.
Poor guy, man.
He's not today. We do have our guy Jake Seeley in here. Thank you. Utah trying to double down on money to get money for no-name jabronis then again in a year. Yeah, I do agree with that.
It's a cash grab. It's Bush League.
Yeah, Lou, we're back.
Bush League.
John Prince, we're back. Okay. My betting article led with Dylan Guenther. This is going to be a Dylan Guenther show as well.
Oh, dude, I've got him in a lot of places.
How could you not, right? How could you?
I got a lot of downtime over here, so I'm just bored. I'm just joining NHL fantasy leagues by myself with complete strangers because I don't have enough somehow.
Maybe we could get that Dangle Bet Celly league going again. Had some fun with that one. Maybe we can just draft in like a week or so when you get back. Anyways, Dylan Guenther led with him, and this is juicy. It really is. There may not be too many games in the future where we can take over 2.5, but ultimately just trying to provide some winners here on this show. And Guenther for over 2.5 shots is my favorite prop bet of the night. And one of my favorite targets in fantasy hockey as well. You look at the way his season finished last year, at least 3 shots on goal in 7 of his final 9 games. He cleared 2.5 shots in 17 of his last 25 games. In his sophomore season, he had an impressive 18 goals and 35 points in 45 games. He only had 12 points in his first 22 games, Eric, but the way that he finished the season was spectacular. Yeah. 23 points in his final 23 games. Over that span, he averaged 3.1 shots per game. He was promoted to the top power play. He was actually the shooter on that power play with Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz. I mentioned Mikhail Sergachev added to that power play is going to be better. Sergachev is the top 10 upside at the defense position in fantasy hockey. So the Blackhawks have an improved squad. I think they did another year of, adding some NHL players, like not just below average. You got Alec Martinez on the blue line. Say what you want about TJ Brody. They bring in Tyler Bertuzzi, Teuvo Teravainen, and Taylor Hall's healthy. So this team will be a little bit more competitive, but only the Sharks allowed more scoring chances, high danger chances, and goals at 5-5 than the Blackhawks last year. So over 2.5 shots for Dylan Guenther, and a point at BetMGM is minus 135. Again, I'll shout out power play point here is a smaller sprinkle. You put the full unit on the shots and the point is smaller wager on the power play points plus 330 over at Bet365 for Dylan Guenther to pick up a point. And then on the other side, how could we not talk about Connor Bedard? Connor Bedard minus 155 over at Bet365 for 3 shots. Again, other books hanging minus 200, minus 175. Not interested in that. But if you are a Bet365 user, maybe you can do some sort of same game parlay. Guenther 3 shots, Connor Bedard 3 shots, and move along. What do you got for this game?
Yeah, we're lockstep in Utah. I got Guenther as the first guy that I wrote down when I started doing my prep for the show. I'm going with Clayton Keller as well because he is the offensive heartbeat of this team, has been for years. You brought up a good point of Guenther. He really came on at the end of the year. And the big thing for me, is watching the games. Like, I know that's cliche, but he would really jump off the screen, right? Like at the end of the year. Early in the year, he's a rookie and he's kind of getting pushed around and he's, floating around on the perimeter, and you can see he's got a world-class release and shot. That's why they've moved him to the top power play, and it's a very exciting year to watch and follow this Utah team. Connor Ingram in goal, I think, is going to shock a lot of people.
Yeah, he's good.
I think Utah really rolls tonight. I think Chicago, like you said, will be much better. I think much better. I think tons of injuries and a tons of players that just shouldn't be playing, full minutes on an NHL team. I've got Bedard written down for them, and I've got Bertuzzi too. He's a player that I've always liked. Kind of maligned in Toronto and didn't put up the numbers that I thought he would. And I was looking, I don't know. They have Bertuzzi and Bedard playing apart from each other. I thought they would play together.
Yeah, I think they'll switch that up. I think throughout the preseason there was something happening there. Maybe a little bit of chemistry. They got Mikheyev there up on that top line with Bedard. But I think when I'm visioning, Chicago, I don't want to say rolling, but once they get going, I could see Bertuzzi, and just given his toughness too and his grittiness, I think he just makes sense on Connor Bedard's line, and Teuvo Teravainen's playmaking ability. I think that's a trio that I would count on. You could see Taylor Hall up there as well, but hey, I could co-sign this. I thought it would happen last year, James. The Barrett Hayton breakout. I thought we would see it last year. Unfortunately, remember he started off the season with 18 games in a row without a point or something like that, and he was a guy that was shooting the puck a lot and just couldn't find the back of the net. He seems healthy here at the moment, playing with Clayton Keller, playing with Nick Schmaltz. I'm really excited for Utah fans, man. They're going to see something special with Clayton Keller, and they're going to see something special with Logan Cooley and Dylan Guenther.
You got a lot of good players in that team. They've got a ton of great young players. It's going to be very good for the Utah hockey team. So stupid. I wish it's the Bush League.
Utah hockey team. It's club.
Whatever it is. It's
Utah Hockey Club.
I'm just calling them Utah until they pick a name.
Oh man, all those fans tonight in New Jerseys are those jerseys are gonna have to get new jerseys next year. Although they will be vintage, we'll look back on it in a few years and say maybe they'll be rare, and that maybe the Utah Hockey Club will be their throwbacks. But okay, there it is. I like Utah as well. Minus 165 at home is a little bit juicy. I would consider maybe taking them in regulation to win in 60. Let me get the number on that right quick for Utah. Who were your goal scorers in this game? Did you say?
Yeah, Bedard, Bertuzzi, Guenther, and Keller.
Okay, gotcha. Utah is minus 110 to win in regulation over at DraftKings. I like that. And apart from totals and sides, I kind of feel like I want to stay away from that. Tonight, though, out of all the games, I think the under in Utah, under 6 at plus 100. I kind of dig that. I like Ingram between the pipes. Mrazek surprised. He had some moments last year talked about maybe the defense being a little bit better in Chicago. I don't expect them to be a juggernaut offensively, and I actually don't expect Utah to be a juggernaut offensively, even though we like some of their players. I think their power play will be improved with Sergachev, but under 6, Utah under 6, Florida, and then my upset would be with the St. Louis Blues. Okay, let's recap. I'll let you kick it away. John wants EY. You should consider a maniac parlay and a crazy 4, then give your lock.
No, I got one. I got the 4-way maniac parlay here. I'm not doing 8 because it's not enough games. But I was looking through my draft. I got 7 right so many times last season. It's frustrating. I think I counted.
Give 7
on the way
and not
here.
8, then.
It was like something like 21 times. I had 7 out of 8. That's 7 losses, right? You don't get it for getting close. It's not horseshoes or hand grenades, but I'm going to get one this year. I'm going to retire from this forever. All right, scorers. I've got Neighbors, Buchnevich, McCann, Tollevin, Marchand, Lindholm, Kachuk, Reinhardt, Bedard, Bertuzzi, Gunther, Keller. The 4-way maniac parlay, because there's only 3 games, goes as follows: Neighbors, Marchand, Bedard, and Keller.
Neighbors, Marchand, Bedard, and Keller. Yeah. And who's your lock of the night to score?
My lock of the night is Marchand.
Brad Marchand. Okay. Yeah. I love this. Utah Greedies from Jake Seeley. Emmerich, I agree, EY. I don't know what he agrees on. I think it's maybe those 7. It's 7 for 8, 7 for 8, 7 for 8. Okay, so for me, I will call a couple of goal scorers. EY's the goal scorer machine here on this show, but Gunther over 2.5 shots, Gunther for a point. In fact, I'll just rank them. Gunther 2.5 shots, Bedard 2.5 shots. Like, those are my favorite 2 props for tonight. There's a little bit of juice on both of those guys, but Bedard is a shooter. We're not going to get 2.5 too often. This time last year, we actually got 2.5, nearly even money, and then it just, everybody saw, like, first game, like 10, 12 shot attempts, and then that number just went away. TiVo's a playmaker too, man. Like, TiVo wants to pass the puck more than he wants to shoot the puck, and I think that will benefit Bedard. I think the puck, he might get into some nice shooting areas with TiVo on his line. So Gunther, Bedard. Then I'll go with Gunther point, Elias Lindholm point, Jake Neighbors point, and I do like Reinhardt minus 150, a little bit juice at 2.5 shots. So just kind of, that's the card, sticking with it. Oh yeah, Montour. Montour is my long shot bet of the night at plus 145 for 3 shots. And I think, as we said, some of those players that I like, you can play them in DFS. They're players that I like. They're players that I think that are not only going to shoot, like, they could score and hit the score sheet. So like Gunther, Bedard, Montour on the blue line, Sergachev on the blue line. I'm very interested in Sergachev and Montour, and there's 2 new landing spots for those guys. The usage rate should be high for both of them. Jake Neighbors, there's value on him up on that top line and up on that top power play as well, plus money for a point. And then Lindholm is just, I think Vegas is taking a look at what Lindholm did last year with the Canucks and a brutal Calgary team. So I think there's a little bit of value with him. For goal scorers tonight, I would say Reinhardt, Gunther. I'm with you on Bedard. I love the Neighbors call. I got a long shot goal scorer for you.
Right.
What do you think about Shane Wright?
Yep.
Shane Wright.
He was a guy that I was thinking about very seriously taking at the very end of drafts. Like, we've just kind of kind of forgot about him.
Yeah.
Right. After tonight, he could be the most added player on fantasy leagues come tomorrow morning.
He could. And, you look at Seattle, and I think everybody is kind of widely available apart from McCann. Like, nobody really, like, there's going to be highs and lows with Eberle. Chandler Stevenson's on that second line, so he's going to have some nice moments. He could help out that power play for them. Brendan Montour certainly should be owned. Decord, I think, should be owned in leagues. I like him more than Grubauer. Not even really sure what way the Kraken are going to go here. I would like them to go Decord, but they may just go with Grubauer there. But Shane Wright, the way that he finished last year, his season, he got called up April 1st. So he played 5 games with the Kraken. down the stretch of the season, and he had 4 goals. He had 1 assist. He only had 1 power play point, so he's not going to get on that top power play. But what I saw was him taking the third line role away from Yanni Gord and playing with Ellie Tolvanen and Bjorkstrand. So I'm surprised that they split up that line because it was a line that played so good for them. But they may give their top draft pick a couple years ago a real opportunity here to start the season. So I saw Shane Wright at plus, I want to say plus 350 for our goal tonight. It's dropped. It's dropped down. So people are betting him. Shane Wright
on it.
Plus 380. He was plus 380 when I wrote.
He's a first round pick, right? Yeah. Like an average person just forgets. Like he was just young, and they didn't need him.
Man, DraftKings was hanging plus 380. They're hanging plus 235 now. Not bad. The best number I'm seeing is over at FanDuel at plus 290. Okay, so no show tomorrow. A quick look at the board. Any thoughts here? We have your Leafs against my Habs. We have Jake Seeley's Rangers against Griff Dog's Penguins. We have I don't know too many Jets fans. Hustlers Jets against our Edmonton Oilers, a team that we're riding here this year. We have the Flames and the Canucks, and then we have the Colorado Avalanche against Vegas. Any thoughts on those 5 games? Anything that catches your eye for tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm going to go to the ends of the earth to try to be able to watch the Toronto-Montreal game. I don't really know how I'm going to watch games over here. It's the NHL app doesn't really work. ESPN kind of works if I use a VPN, so I just got to kind of figure it out. I'm very intrigued in who the New York Rangers are going to be this year. I still believe in them. I think maybe I jumped on the bandwagon a little too early last year, but I think New York is going to be very, very dangerous this year. I think Edmonton, this reminds me of like when Gretzky and Curry and all those guys were young and they lost. That's what this is. If you saw that clip of Connor McDavid yelling, he's pissed off. And if you're the best player in the world and you're motivated to shove it where the sun don't shine and win a Stanley Cup, he's going to have these guys all playing. And that's exciting, right? I mean, probably 2 of the top 5 players in the league playing on the same team. Edmonton is must-watch hockey every time they play. Vancouver, what are they going to do in net? Like, how bad's Calgary going to be? Is Colorado good? Is Vancouver good? There's a lot of question marks. I feel like a lot more this year than there was going into last year. But yeah, it's exciting, man. I'm ready for hockey to start. I'm tired of talking about it.
I hear you. I think the Habs are interesting home dogs at plus 149. You'll probably get a better number tomorrow. At least you're going to see a lot of money come in. I think Montreal is going to surprise some people this season that had the most man games lost last year, and actually the second most. I think it was the most man games lost and the second most 1 goal losses. So they're in a lot of hockey games, and I think that they are improved this year for them. The Rangers are going to be all over the Rangers tomorrow on the money line. Already seeing like an injury in Pittsburgh to Brian Rust. So I'm still not buying the Penguins. I think it's probably another long year for Pittsburgh. I don't believe in Tristan Jarry, and we'll see maybe a better power play for Pittsburgh this year. You think it would be better given all the options they have on that first unit there. But I'm going to like the Rangers. I'm in on the Rangers this year to really make some noise. I think they're much better than Carolina. I think whoever wins between the Rangers and the Devils in the playoffs where they eventually meet up will be the team that goes to the Stanley Cup Finals. I don't think Florida's going to get back there. I don't believe in your Leafs. Sorry, EY. Tampa, I think, is a long shot, and the Bruins are just I don't really like Boston. But yeah, anyways, the Rangers, Alexis Lafreniere, we gushed over him, especially in the playoffs. I thought he was arguably the best player for the Rangers throughout the
other than Chris Kreider, he was their best player.
Yeah, that line at 5-5 was phenomenal with Trocheck and Panarin. So I'll be taking a look at like a point for Alexis Lafreniere. I'll be taking a look at some shot props for him as well. Victor Arvidsson, your guy, looks like he's going to suit up in the second line with Leon Draisaitl. He loves to shoot the puck as well. So I'll be taking a look at him tomorrow for a point. Be taking a look.
If he's healthy, that is just it's going to be deadly. But he can't. The last 3 years, he hasn't been able to stay his back. Right, it's just destroyed. So
yeah, hopefully. Hopefully him and Jeff Skinner can stay healthy because Edmonton a lot more dangerous with those 2 guys healthy. I think their bottom six is improved because of that. They're able to do some things and maybe play Skinner and Adam Henrique on that third line. Calgary and Vancouver, it's going to be a long year for the Flames. Really, really long year for the Calgary Flames. For Vancouver, taking a look at Jake DeBrusk for a point. Like his situation in Vancouver, he's going to get top power play time for the Canucks. He's going to be on that first line with Elias Pettersson. And, at times for Vancouver or for Boston, there were some moments, 2 years ago in particular, when he was playing with, when he demanded the trade, and then all of a sudden he got bumped up to play with Bergeron, and Marchand was his best season last year. Was kind of hit or miss, but he never got top power play time. He never got first line minutes. He's going to get that actually in Vancouver, and they have him penciled in on that first power play line. So I'll be taking a look at him. For Vegas, I actually think the Golden Knights are going to struggle to score goals this year. Right now they're healthy with Hurdle and Stone and Eichel, but those three guys have had issues staying healthy. If Jack Eichel goes down, my goodness, or Hurdle goes down, this is a super thin team offensively. They did not replace Jonathan Marchessault. They did not replace Chandler Stevenson. They are loaded on the blue line. They are loaded on the blue line with Theodore and Pietrangelo and Hanifin. They are going to be hard to score against. Their defense are going to block a lot of shots, and they're strong in goal with Aiden Hill and Samsonov. But I really do feel like they're going to play to a lot of unders. And I think they'll make the playoffs, Eric, but I have them as a wildcard team. And I love Vegas. I think that the atmosphere is unbelievable. They have a lot of fun players. We both like Eichel, but man, I'm not. Barbashev's a nice player. Victor Olofsson playing on the first line. Like, this is just not gonna work out well, I think, for Vegas. They're really gonna struggle, I think, to find some goals, and they're gonna play to a lot of unders. So I think maybe consider a lot of unders in Vegas's game. So we'll get out of here with some predictions. Who do you rattle off some predictions, some playoff squads, some division winners, and tell us who you think's gonna win the cup here?
Yeah, I've got
Leafs, and I'm just going to cut you off.
Yeah, well, it is. It's the Maple Leafs. Okay. Toronto Maple Leafs and Florida. I got Rangers in New Jersey. I think I probably put Carolina in there as well. Nashville, Dallas. I think Avalanche are still good enough. If they get even decent goaltending, I think they make it into. I got Edmonton and Vegas, and I would put Vancouver in as well. And I've got, listen, I know it's Homer, but sometimes when the red wine's flowing and you're 35,000 feet in the air, this just comes to you. I think that Toronto and Nashville are going to play for the Stanley Cup. This is the best team that Nashville's ever had. I can say that because I've watched every one of their games for the last 10 years. This is the best team they've ever had, and it's not close. I get Stamkos isn't who he was. Maybe Marchessault is a little bit long in the tooth as well, but they're still both very good players. Stamkos isn't going to be asked to be the guy, right? He's just going to be asked to stand on the circle and fire the puck into the net on the power play. And that's what he's going to do. Forsberg, I think, is maybe the most, even though people talk about him, he's very popular, but offensively, he might be the most overrated player in the NHL. And he's incredible. Just incredible. Roman Josi had one of his best years last year. Saros is unbelievable. This team is loaded, man. They're loaded. They got some young guys like Novak, Evangelista, Parsonen. It's a very, very dangerous team, and it can play any which way. It's got Lozon, who led the NHL in hits last year. It's a good squad. And look at Toronto. This is it, right? I thought that it was going to be kind of dismantled this summer, and they didn't do that. So they've put their chips in. If Tanev is the same player he was last year, that increases their ability to defend and block shots, which is exactly what they need. And if Joseph Wall can be the player that he showed that he can be, not consistently, but in a bunch of games at the end of the year before and during the start of last season, if he can be that guy consistently, they're good. And Stolarz is awesome. You even said yourself, Stolarz could be the starter. And I know it's a homer pick, but I don't care. That's what I think is going to happen. I believe it. And when I get home and I can gamble, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is.
I like that. I put Nashville in at 18-1 to win the Stanley Cup. I think that they're a really good long shot bet. I also think they're a good long shot bet to win their division as well in the Central. Of course, we were all over Dallas last year. We had Dallas
Yep.
win the division, and I did pick Dallas to win the division again. I'm concerned with Colorado's bottom six.
Me
The
too.
biggest thing with Colorado, like they really need a healthy Landeskog. They really need a Valerie Nichushkin, and those just both they're big ifs at the moment
They're wild
due
cards.
to health and off the ice issues. Yeah, they are wild cards. So I'm concerned with the goaltending, and I'm concerned with the bottom six. But Dallas, they did lose some players on the blue line. But I still think they're going to be fine. Wyatt Johnson, our guy, is going to play up on the top line. He's going to flirt with 90 points this year. So Dallas should still hang. But the Predators, everything that you said, right? You added Stanley Cup experience to that room and Steven Stamkos and Jonathan Marsh. So Tommy Novak is going to be one of the most picked up players in fantasy hockey over the next couple of weeks. You can bank on that. He's going to center those two guys. Saw Forsberg and O'Reilly and Gustav Nyquist last year. You have Yossi there, and you have Saros between the pipes. So they have all the makings to me. They have goal scorers. They have the special teams should be improved because of some of the additions that they made. They have Stanley Cup experience. They have a goalie, and you have to have a horse on the blue line. You have to. You go look at the last 10 to 15 Stanley Cup winners. There is a defenseman that is logging 24, 25 minutes of ice time in the playoffs, and that is Roman Yossi. So I have Saros for Vezina, I think at 15-1 over at FanDuel. I have Yossi for Norris. I forget the number. Those are my two picks. And like I said, I think the Preds for a long shot pick at 18-1, and to win the division, I think at plus 450 is in play. For the playoff squads for me, in the Central, again, Dallas, Colorado, and Nashville. I don't have Minnesota in. In fact, I have a bet on the under on, I think, 93 points, and I have them to miss the playoffs at plus money. I think they're a one-line team, and Matt Boldy's hurt. That's straight up. I think they're overrated. I think Utah could have a better season than the Jets. I'm going to say that the Jets missed the playoffs. I know, my goodness. I had a great year last year, and Hellebuck was phenomenal. But they're another team that I just view as a one-line team. So if Hellebuck gets hurt, they're a bottom 10 team. If Hellebuck regresses and struggles, they're a bubble team. They couldn't get any offense last year. They won a ton of games, scoring 3 or fewer goals. They went on some ridiculous streak. So I think apart from Connor and Scheifele and Velarde, where is the offense coming from? I like Cole Perfetti as a player, but I'm going to go with Utah making the playoffs. The Pacific is the worst division in the NHL. It's not even close. The Ducks and the Sharks have some young, exciting players. They could, play to a lot of overs and score some goals, but they also have a ton of holes. The Flames, I got the under on the Flames point total as well. I think the Canucks will regress, but I think they'll make the playoffs. The Oilers win the division, Vancouver and LA. And then I got the Golden Knights there as the 4. In the Eastern Conference, I did go with Florida winning the division. I still think that they're the best team in the Atlantic, but it's really tough to go to the Stanley Cup Finals 3 years in a row. There could be a slow start due to, the Stanley Cup hangover, 2 deep runs. We saw that with Tampa. Early exits after they made significant runs. But I do like your Leafs. I think they're a little bit more sound. I think they're more balanced for the playoffs. I think they're a little thin on the left side, but maybe Pacioretty can be healthy and score them 20 goals and give them something in the bottom 6. And I think the defense will play better in the playoffs with like Tanev and Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I think that Stolarz could legitimately take over the net if Wall doesn't stay healthy. I think it could be a 50-50 split. But I got the Leafs in the playoffs with the Bruins, with the Panthers, and with the Lightning. I'm not buying the Sens or the Sabres. Everybody wants to just say, this is the year. This is the year. I need to see it. I just haven't seen it. I'm on the under 90 points for the Sens. They had 2 more points than the Habs. Like, what are we doing here, man? Like the Sens, I'm sorry, EY, they're just overrated. I feel the same way about the Sabres. In the Metro, I got the Rangers winning the division. I have the Devils there and the Hurricanes. And then I did go with the Islanders, but it's really tight. I could really see Philadelphia. They were in a playoff spot all year until the very end. But, like the Declare edition, Islanders are still the same old team. I think Patrick Waugh got the most out of Barzal and Horvat. We'll see what happens between the pipes, how, hurt Sorokin is and what he does between him and Varlamov. But that was really tough for me I just don't believe in Pittsburgh. Don't think Washington will get back, although I like the improvements on the blue line. So I went with the Islanders there as well. Okay, Coaster's Corner. Being a New York Jets and a Sens fan is taking years off my life, but this is the year. We do have a lot of Sens fans in here as well. James says, unrelated, Shesterkin just rejected an 8-year, $11 million deal from the Rangers. Okay, $11 million. He rejected $11 million. Wow. Isn't Price and Bobrovsky the most at 10? 11 million. Wow. 8 for 88 turned down. Rangers are the best organization at finding and developing goaltenders. I say hold strong, Rangers.
8 for 88. Good Lord. And he said no.
That's shocking. He's not going to get.
It's part of negotiation. That's their first offer.
Yeah.
It's not like they're going to give him one offer and that's the end of it.
He's not going to get more than $11 million, though, is he? Even from through free agency. I know the cap's continuing to go up. I suppose if he hit free agency, there could be some team that's just screw
Someone's going to pay. There's always someone.
Yeah, I'll give you 12.
If we get him in here and we get him in our system, he'll be even better than he was in New York. That's what they're all telling themselves.
Interesting. All right, we're going to get out of here. Appreciate you guys for taking the time to hang out. Oh, by the way, I'm on the Oilers to win the Stanley Cup. It has been the first year I've been on the Oilers. I've always kind of been Skinner, the depth.
You very well could be right.
I mean, it's not a hot take. It's pretty chalky. I hate myself for it, but we have called some Stanley Cup winners on this show over the past couple of years, right?
Yep.
We give the long shot on Nashville. I think a long shot on the Kings with Darcy Kemper between the pipes. I like the Rangers and the Devils numbers at 14-1. But the Oilers were so close. They were so close, and I'm a big believer in learning how to lose before you learn how to win. That's why I had no issues going back to the Florida Panthers. I have no issues going to Edmonton here. Last year in the Stanley Cup Finals in Game 7, they had Holloway on their first line. If Skinner and if Arvidsson can stay healthy, that they're going to make a move or two at the deadline. And Skinner showed me that, he's actually okay. I know we laugh at him a little bit, but he was good in the playoffs towards the end. In the Stanley Cup playoffs, he showed me. That's where I got the confidence in Edmonton that they can maybe do it. And I loved McDavid, by the way, freaking out. For anybody that calls him a whiny little, what? This is what you want from your captain. You want him to be pissed off. You want him to be.
He wasn't whining. He was mad. He's tired of losing. There's nothing whining about that. Yelling at other grown men, people that are old enough to be his dad. Telling them to dig in. This is the Stanley Cup playoffs.
And you had to have loved William.
He needs to put a little bass. He can borrow some bass from my voice, I think, maybe.
Yes. And how about William Nylander? I just gained so much respect for Willie Nylander.
Stallion.
Telling Marner and Matthews to shut the hell up, stop complaining and whining, shoot the puck. I loved it, man. I'd slap an A on him.
Grow up.
Immediately. I'd slap the A on Willie. B-Man in the house at work had to drop by and say, what's up, boys? We back. Cheers, fellas. PrizePicks. EY, hang on for a minute. PrizePicks. There seems to be a lot of questions here about PrizePicks. By the way, if you're unfamiliar, PrizePicks, it's more or less on shots and points and props and hits and time on ice and face-off wins. They offer a lot over at PrizePicks. You can use promo code FTN. They'll match your first deposit. I'm taking a look at the board right now. Some of the guys that I'd liked are there, but they have the Green Goblin, so you're not going to get a whole lot in terms of return value. But let's see. Connor Bedard over 2.5 shots. We both like that one. So we'll go with Bedard over 2.5 shots. I see Sam Reinhart here for 2.5 shots. I can co-sign that one. If he moves away and people are betting him, I think Carter Verhaeghe 2.5 shots. Jake Neighbors 1.5 shots is one that we like. Let's see if we can find some demon here to kind of even things out for us.
What's a Gunther pick?
Gunther's not on the board. PrizePicks dropping the ball here. Get with it. Dylan Gunther not on the board. Underdog probably has him. Jake Neighbors for a point. That's a demon. Could kind of get behind that.
Yep.
Oh, Brendan Montour over 22 minutes of ice time. That one may be kind of outside the thinking there.
22 is a lot, man.
I think he's going to live in the 23-minute range, but
Yeah.
that one's maybe we'll wait and see. Maybe we'll wait and see the first game with him. Sergachev's there at 23 minutes is a lot as well.
I could believe Sergachev because I think he's going to play in every single situation.
Yeah, me too. I think both of those guys are going to be horses on their
Yeah.
new teams. Okay, so let's get a 3-leg here for you. We'll go Jake Neighbors over 1.5 shots. We'll go Connor Bedard over 2.5 shots, and Carter Verhaeghe over 2.5 shots. If you were looking for some sort of demon play to kind of help you out a little bit, I think Jake Neighbors for a point is the way that I would go. And sometimes there's some value with hits. Dylan Holloway at over 2.5 hits, I think is that guy likes to throw his body around. It looks like he's going to be on that first line here tonight. And another one that I'll throw out that I think there's a little bit of value on is over 10 faceoff wins for Elias Lindholm. He's going to be in the center. He's going to get a lot of ice time there. He's a good faceoff guy as well.
Yep.
All right. We're out of here. We'll try to be more focused. Now I know that there's some PrizePicks people here and some underdog people. I'll have a card for you guys moving forward with like 3 or 4 plays at the very end of the show for PrizePicks stuff. But appreciate you guys taking the time to hang out. EY, enjoy the UK. Be safe, brother. We'll be back on Thursday. Again, ftnfantasy.com for the rankings. Get in our free fantasy hockey Discord channel. We also have a PrizePicks Discord channel there as well. And we'll have a waiver wire article for you guys every Sunday over at ftnfantasy.com. Any questions, hit me up at Chris Meaney, at Eric Young, Mean Streets FTN, gmail.com. Slide in the DMs. They are open. Have some fun tonight. Good luck with the picks. We'll talk to you guys on Thursday. Cheers.